Alright, and good evening, and welcome to round 8 of the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship this week from Hidden Valley. Practice has just ticked over, and qualifying will begin in a moment, so we're only moments away from the first proper action for this evening, but has just ticked over. We'll just go over the information for this evening. Obviously, as you can see, Hidden Valley Raceway, Darwin, Northern Territory, 2.87 kilometres, 14 corners, 3 races this evening, which means 2 reverse grid races, which everybody seems to love those, and all the carnage that ensues. And the races this evening are 14 laps long. Got a pretty sizable grid this evening, with currently 24 cars in the server, and it is going to be a very busy lap in the race, but with the way people go about qualifying as well, wouldn't put it past a few people to have their laps blocked off early on. So we have a car just leaving the pits, so there we go. And Daniel Cox will be the first man out onto the circuit. 15-minute qualifying session. Drivers are permitted to have 1 lap. But actually, just before that, I just want to double check. The service settings doesn't say that. But yeah, service settings at the moment just a little bit incorrect, but we can't solve them at the moment. The SRS should have solved it anyway, but anyway, hopefully we don't have people exploiting that. We're only meant to have 3 laps handed out to each driver, but at the moment it's given unlimited. But only permitted to have a shot at 1 time lap. If you leave the pits, press escape and go to start a lap afterwards, and return back to the pits, you'll have 4 laps that you've left, that you've gone around the pits. Anyway, Daniel Cox, first man in qualifying to attempt a lap, just coming out of the final corner now and along the main straight. As you can see, drag strip on the inside, and we'll have to contend with a little bit of traffic leaving the pits in front of him. That may one of the Jack Daniels cars. Not sure who that is. But into turn 1 he goes. So right on board on the dash cam. Nice conservative on the exit. Lights ablaze. With a little flip flop. Don't outbrake yourself here. Don't run too wide on the exit. It does sort of fall away from you a little bit. And we'll certainly see a bit of action here at the hairpin. Whether it be overtaking or drivers making mistakes. And then one of the faster portions of the circuit, double right-hander, and then coming up to the second split, 45.527 for Daniel Cox so far. Respectable lap. And out of the 14th and final corner. And to the line for Daniel Cox. And it will be a 1:06.5. Not the fastest time I've seen, but still a decent banker. And that's about 3/10 or so off his personal best. So just cycling through at the moment. Looks like we've got Hans Brunswick, normally a commentator, but this week commentator turn race driver. Also have Turbo out there. He's just set a lap at 1:06.6. But we'll stick with Hans, normally on the other side of the broadcast booth. This time out there and in an FGX Falcon normally occupied by Brian Walsh. Unable to make it this time. Hans 4/10 down at the second split. Ooh, a little bit of a twitch. The penultimate corner. Gets through there nicely though. And now the run to the line. So he's looking to probably try and sneak into the 6s, but it might just slip away from him. And a 1:07.1 for him. So let's scroll down on all live races and have a look at his best. His best at 1:06.5, so he'll be a little bit disappointed that he couldn't match it, but still able to set a respectable time in qualifying, and you just never know with drivers going out there making mistakes. There is a lot of cars out there. It wouldn't surprise me if a driver or two gets blocked. Also got Mike Coulson out there as well. Good to see him out there. Now, in the warm-up session, I may have to go through and tell either him or Daniel Cox to switch cars, because there is an Xbox Falcon available, as well as one of the GRM cars, just so we don't have two of the same cars out there. Across the line, 184, not ideal for Mike Coulson. He won't be too pleased with that one. And just have a look, his personal best was a 107.5, so quite a ways off his personal best out there. Now, line Mitch in the pits, got Liam Spencer out there as well, but we do have Stancliffe, who has been setting timesheets alight so far. Purple middle sector, 106.3, not an ideal time, what he was hoping. That said, still a personal best for him, good time to do it, but if you want to be starting the front two rows, you're probably going to want to be in the fives, or very, very close to the fives for the 106.0 or 106.1. Nether leaving the pits. Burko out on a lap as well. Noah Turra, he goes P4. Aiden in P6, good miles down there. Now in P9 as Liam Spencer. There we go, 106.1. Provisional pole for him, but we've got Burko out there at the moment. Purple in Sector 1. Purple in Sector 2, 2 tenths up. 105.5 for him in practice, or at least in the practice service, so he'll be hoping to replicate that, but he'll need to find quite a lot of time in the final sector if he wants to match that here in qualifying. As he approaches the line, and he's lost a lot of time there, so he's lost over 2.5 tenths there. And Burko, who's there you go, 106.117, and Liam Spencer, provisional pole position for him. Also got Rhodey on a lap, got Cheese through the first sector, 3 tenths down in the Nissan Altima Norton Hornets car. I do believe the second one of these Norton cars is available as well, so if you are watching and you're interested in racing, there are still, even though all cars may be taken on the registration page, if you just jump in each week, there's normally a number of free seats available, but a couple have opened up or will open up after this evening, so feel free to drop on by on the Discord and on Facebook. Well, on Facebook first, search for Automobilista Australia, and then you shall find the Discord details as Cheese crosses the line, goes provisionally P8 on a 107.7. And he's about half a second off his personal best. Got Rhodey out there, he's also now just moved up into P8. Got Paul Morris out there, got Taipan, one of the new runners out there this week. We'll follow him around, see how he tackles Hidden Valley Raceway in his first outing here at Automobilista Australia. His fastest in practice is a 107.6, as we have another, speaking of 107.6s, he sets a 107.686. So he won't be too pleased with that qualifying. It has been struggling a little bit of late in these cars. Hasn't quite had the time compared to a lot of other people. He's been quite busy working, while a lot of other people have been obviously off due to the old Wu flu. Taipan now out of the final corner to the line, 107.5, so he sets a personal best, and a really good time to do it as well. Moves him provisionally into the top 10 in P9, so good effort from him. And we've got Paul Morris out there at the moment, and purple first sector, 22.7, he's up by 3/4 of a tenth at sector 2. What can he manage in the final sector though? Out of the final corner. This is where Burko lost time on his last couple of corners. And to the line, and he's lost 4/10 of a second. So Spencer quite quick in the final sector. 20.6, Burko 20.9, and that was a 21.1 for Paul Morris. So all that time from Liam is all in that last sector, and quite committed, I'd have to say. There, I think that's turn 10. Got Gary Neville on a lap. Obviously, you'll see if you've watched in the past, he's in a slightly different livery to normal. That's because I've found the 2015 Bottle car Dave Reynolds drove, and that's my favourite of the Bottle cars, so I thought I'd just chuck it on instead. Drivers in the server will see the, I do believe it's a 2016 Mark Winterbottom livery, but on mine, as you can see, the 2015 livery. Anyway, Neville to the line, and a 108.2 down in P15. He won't be too pleased with that. And just scrolling through, he's a good 6/10 away from his personal best in practice. Got Matt Cecil out there as well, winner of the last race at Townsville, and he's made a mistake somewhere. He's 5 seconds down on this one. In fact, no, it must be an in-lap, as he's 7/10 away and in P7, so I've missed that one. But still got 5 minutes left in the session, and just scrolling through. Now, Lime Mitch, second place man in the championship, has got a penalty. He's actually got 2 penalties, I believe, for this round. So that's why he's not out there on the circuit at the moment. We're still awaiting Wayne Whitmore McLean, who may have a penalty himself, going off the top of my head. Wayne Spencer, he's got a penalty, as well as we've got now new NZ Snipes out there about to settle that. And also got Block Knight, another one of the new runners out there, about to have a crack in the 33 Fujitsu GRM car. And he was quite handy in practice as well, so he might mix it up at the front. I'll just have a look in practice actually, see what he managed. So Block Knight 106.0 is his fastest in practice, so look for him. NZ Snipes, solid first sector, about 3/4 of a tenth away, but as we know, Liam Spencer was mighty in that final sector. So Snipes, if he wants a good time compared to Liam, he'll need to set a really good middle sector and just hold on in the final sector if he can. Again, only a tenth away from Liam, but this is where he made up all his time compared to everybody else out there. Good 2/10 faster than the next fastest, which was Termo, 20.8 was Termo's final sector time. Second fastest man there. To the line, Snipes goes though, and 106.5, so he goes P6. Good effort from him, just behind Paul Morris and Daniel Cox, and just ahead of Termo and Cecil. So fair effort, but obviously he's not too pleased as he's just put his car into the wall there. Anyway, you got Snipes out there. He's going through the final sector now. Again, up by 3/4 of a tenth, but this is where Spencer was mighty quick, bit slidey on the exit, and was a bit conservative on the entry as well. So he's probably not going to sneak pole position, but still goes P4, and that is a good effort first time out for Block Knight. And I do believe that's just about everybody done and dusted with 2.5 minutes to go. So with that said and done, 2.5 minutes to go, and with the only other drivers that haven't set times in the server all serving qualifying penalties, we'll not see them out on the circuit. So that gives us just a couple minutes before the session ticks over. I have to conduct the driver's briefing and we'll take a break, but that gives us time to go over the championship standings after the Townsville round at round 7. So as you can see, Steve Burko, 2,373 points, leads the field. Didn't have the best round. He managed to take a win, I believe, in race 2. But races 1 and 3 weren't ideal for him. That said, though, Lime Mitch, he was looking good for most of the weekend, but a couple incidents for him and then an engine failure in, I believe, the 3rd race undid all his hard work, closing the gap down between himself and his teammate. Now, the Realmian, he's fallen away just a little bit these last couple rounds, but if he can just remain consistent and those around him have some errors, we could see him jump back up. Turmo the same. He's shown a little bit of an improved pace of late, but still lacking that outright pace that we've seen from the two drivers below him in Paul Morris and Liam Spencer. Those guys have been quite hot as of late, and again, those guys are going to be ones to look out for. Then we have Wayne Spencer, the father of Liam, just behind, 160 points behind son Liam. Steve Bolger, who has pulled out of the championship, sits in 8th on 1,326 points. Matt Cecil, our winner from race 3 at Townsville, 1,032. Scott Stancliffe, a late comer to the championship, just like Matt Cecil, 966. If those guys continue their form, you never know. We might see them spring a late surprise if Lime Mitch and Burko strike trouble later on. Over the page, and we have NZ Snipes, 933. Rhodey in 12th. He was in the top 10, but after last round has dropped out. He's on 912. Then on 834, Brian Walsh, absent this evening. John McDonald on 789. Glenn Miles, 753. Cracker, who is not here this evening, he is on 744. Bit of a gap to Wayne Whitmore on 552. And Matt Webb, who's only done the, I think, a handful of rounds on 513. We may not see him back in the championship. Mike Coulston on 417. And latecomer Daniel Cox on 408. Alright, well, we've just snuck that in. The session is about to end and tick over to the warm-up. And that means I'll be called into the driver's briefing. We'll just take a short break, but don't go anywhere, as we've got race 1 of 3, only 10 minutes away. Don't go anywhere. Right, and we are back. Had to do a bit of a drives briefing, and then we also had to get Mike Coulson to change cars, so we didn't have 223 red cars. So about 3 minutes away at most before we switch sessions, but just waiting for Mike to jump back into the server. Then we will be back and racing here in the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship from Hidden Valley. Also had a game crash in there as well, so hopefully that doesn't happen when we switch session. As there we go, Mike Coulson in the server. And we're just about to switch session and go racing. Alright, so we'll just go over to once again just the circuit now that we're at tonight. Hidden Valley Raceway, 14 corners. Turn 1 is going to be vital for lap time, vital at defending and overtaking, and vital for tyre wear. You can get quite sideways on the exit, and then the little kink right and left immediately after that as well are going to be, maybe when the tyres wear out a little bit, they might be a little bit tricky. The hairpin always seems to throw up a little bit of biff. Unfortunately, I've had Paul Morris have an issue. His client has stopped receiving updates, or the server has stopped receiving updates from the client, so he's out for the moment. So we're going to have to just extend the warm-up for a moment and wait for him to come back in. But our pole man, Liam Spencer, first 2 sectors weren't the fastest, but his final one certainly able to carry him to pole position in the end over Steve Burko. And also Darren Kemp also jumped out of the server as well, possibly having some issues with the game crashing. Obviously 22, 23, 24 cars does eat up a fair amount of CPU in Automobilista. And with some of the liveries being at 4K resolution, a lot of them in fact, it also causes a bit of a strain. So I'll wait for those guys to hopefully jump in within the next 40 seconds, and we'll get back and running for race 1. I do apologise for the delays. So Paul Morris back in the server, still waiting Darren Kemp. So if he does crash again, as unfortunately Mike Coulson's also left the game, as has Matt Cecil. So all kinds of issues at the moment. Do apologise, but once everybody's in, we'll go, and after that we'll not be restarting the races for people to drop out once it ticks over to the race. Well, once again, just go over the championship standings. Now, the grid and the qualifying man, Ms. Lion Mitch, I do believe is going to end up starting down in, I think, 19th position. The batch file had him at, so I'll just scroll up. Yeah, 21st for Lion Mitch. So he will be starting well down the field, but he is a bit of a reverse grid specialist, so expect him to move up a few positions. That said, though, last time out at Townsville did catch him out a little bit, was caught up in a couple incidents, and it did cause some issues, which is why he's starting at the back. We'll be hoping to avoid that, have a good start, and hopefully at some point find his way ahead of Steve Burko to close the gap down in the championship. While Nether and Termo will be hoping to get their championship hopes back up and running again, and find a little bit of form now that we'll be starting from 14th on the grid, which I do believe is one of his worst, if not the worst, qualifying effort he's had all season. So he'll be disappointed and frustrating with that. And as we see Kemp and Coulson now in the server, now we wait Matt Cecil to rejoin, as Paul Morris already has. And yeah, nothing much else to say really at the moment, but might as well we'll flip over the page and just have a look at the battle in the mid-pack in the championship. We've had over 30 drivers in the championship, so positions 11 to 12 really are in the middle. As you can see, NZ Snipes, who did join a little bit later on in the season, doing a really good job on 9:33, jumping ahead of Rody, Walsh and McDonald, who's also a late starter as well. Glenn Miles been present for, I believe, every round, or he may have missed just the one on 7:53. Cracker has made most rounds. Whitmore has made most as well, doing a good job. While Daniel Cox down there in 20th place. Again, really late comer's only done the last 2 rounds, but doing a really good job at the moment. Anyway, all drivers in the server, and away we go racing. Hopefully the grid is set correctly. And unfortunately it is not, so bear with me here. With a lot of errors happening at the moment.
You on?
Alright, hopefully everybody has made it since we've had to restart the server. A couple of people got booted, and at the same time the grid, as I just said, was not quite sorted after people had to rejoin, but looks like it's all sorted now. Hopefully everybody is able to make this one. Doesn't look like anyone at the moment has left the server, which is good to see. So now we're just waiting for the drivers to form up on the grid and get race 1 of 3 underway. actually just before get the formation lap underway. Just have a scroll through, just waiting for a couple drivers to jump onto the grid. Formation lap is underway. Got Wayne Spencer in the pit lane. So it looks like everybody else has made it, which is good to see. Alright, formation lap is now underway, as you can see, and Liam Spencer will lead the way. His father, as you can see in the background, will start from pit lane. But finally a non-HRT car on pole, with Liam Spencer taking pole position, Steve Burko in second, and so far so good for Triple Eight Race Engineering. Scott Stancliffe in third. The second of the HRTs, of course, starting down in 21st. But we've got Block Knight here on Jabu in 4th place. A great effort from him. In 5th place, Daniel Cox, followed by Paul Morris / BDS. Then we have NZ Snipes in P7. Turbo in P8. Matt Cecil in P9. He was one of the drivers that was affected by the game booting him, and then him not being in the right position on the grid. Noah Tara in 10th place for Pepsi Max Racing. Hans Brunswick, normally a commentator, now he's commentator turned race car driver. Sees him start his inaugural race here at Automobilista Australia in P11. So good luck, Hans. Rody right behind him for Triple Eight Satellite Engineering. Taipan, another man on Jabu this evening. Gary Rogers Motorsport in 13th. So solid outing for both the GRM cars so far in this one. Nether in 14th, followed by Cheese, Aiden, Mike Goulston, Darren Kemp, Glenn Miles, Lime Mitch in 20th. So we've had someone drop out there, or perhaps a slight error with the batch fault. Wayne Spencer starting with pits, although it says it's 21st. McLean 22nd. He also had a qualifying penalty, and Wayne Whitmore in 23rd. Now I'm saying that Mitch meant to start from pit lane. I will just double check that in Discord in a moment, but drivers now starting to form up on the grid. And there it is, all drivers now formed up on the grid. And away we go. And Liam Spencer got the initial good jump away. He will lead away into turn 1. 3 wide there in the midfield, but it is a long, long run to turn 1. And Stancliffe trying to go up the inside, with Block Knight trying to hold on around the outside. And it looks like everybody has got through turn 1 so far okay, although at the back looks like Noah Tara's been nudged around by Lime Mitch. So Lime Mitch already up a couple spots, but already causing a bit of an issue. So we'll just ride on board for the moment and see what happens. So through everybody, late on the brakes, and a little bit of labour at the same time. And that incident really should have been avoided. Up into 13th though, as we've got Cox and Turmo side by side in the middle sector. Liam Spencer still leads Burko, also there in second. And now we've got Rody's had a good start, up 3 spots. Cecil down a spot, and also Nether, good solid start as Lime Mitch up the inside of Cheese at the penultimate and final corners. There's a big lose, big slide for Nether, and bit of contact with Cheese. 25% damage though, so it shouldn't affect this car too much. Lime Mitch already up 10 spots, but again, he's probably got incident hanging over the top of his head for this one once again. But at the front, Liam Spencer leads with Burko right in behind. Burko was the pace man in practice, so I wouldn't expect him. I would expect him to pressurise Liam Spencer all race long. A little bit of a nudge there at the hairpin, but that is to be expected. Happens there in real life, and it will certainly happen here in the sim world. Further back, Block Knight holding on to P4. He's got Paul Morris, who's snuck up a spot up into P5. NZ Snipes, another man up one spot, and looking quite racy at the moment. Turmo up a spot, Daniel Cox down 3 spots, down into 8th spot, but still not too far away, and with a bit of luck could find himself in P5 as well, so not too far away. I'm Mitch, looking to make a move on Rudy into turn 1. And he'll get that job done. That's it though, Rudy trying to hold on around the outside, but it's such a long radius corner that you don't really have much of a chance to hold on around the outside at turn 1 here at Hidden Valley. But at the moment though, Paul Morris, a bit of a roadblock, and he's got a number of cars right behind him, NZ Snipes, Turmo and Daniel Cox, and soon to be I'm Mitch, about to join this mega train. Up at the front, still got Burko right behind Spencer, though he has dropped back a little bit, but I do expect him to close in a little bit coming into turn 1 with the slipstream. So as you can see, just these cars are streaming by. Bit of a gap between Cecil and Brunswick. Brunswick's done a good job in his first start, only dropped 1 spot and in 12th place, but respectable start from him so far. 107.2 for him, as Cecil has a look at the back of Rudy into turn 1. Like Mitch already onto the back of Turmo. Looks like Daniel Cox has got by Turmo. That would explain that little gap between Cox and Snipes. And I've also got Block Knight now on the back of Stancliffe. So Stancliffe, I believe, may have made a slight mistake, and that is why Block Knight is right there. Fuel the drives. We're a little bit worried of Block Knight's pace. I think he's pretty quick, and he's looking to score a podium on debut. He's all kinds of sideways, but manages to hold on. Hasn't lost too much time as well. That said, Paul Morris closing in on these two, as is NZ Snipes. So we could see the big snake form up behind Stancliffe, as opposed to about a lap and a half ago behind Paul Morris. But Block Knight actually having a look, I think more so just to find a braking point as opposed to make a move. He's right there in the wheel tracks. Scott Stancliffe, who's not had an ideal exit. They're going to go side by side here through the flip-flop. And once again, Stancliffe defensive. Block Knight trying to go around the outside. That's ambitious. It's compromised him, and Paul Morris says thank you very much. That's it though. Block Knight very late on the brakes. Thought for a moment he was going to spear into the back of Stancliffe. He's able to pull it up, and now it's Paul Morris now who's compromised, and he's got NZ Snipes right behind him, and with those two battling, it's enabled Block Knight just to get away, but it's also enabled Daniel Cox to close in. Turmo still holding off Lime Mitch, but this is forming up into a massive train as Block Knight tries to make a move with the final couple corners. You did see that on the opening lap with Lime Mitch and Cheese, but this time Block Knight not able to make the move, and we have seen Lime Mitch make up a move there at the final corner there by the looks of things. I'll just cut to a short little replay. Yeah, straight up the inside, and getting the job done. Did run Turmo out a little bit wide though. But yeah, this is a mega train at the moment. Yano Trulli would be proud of this one. So that is 3rd place all the way to 9th, right there on your screen. Big gap to Cecil in behind, about 3.5 to 4 seconds, and then in front of them, good few seconds, well 5 seconds between 2nd and 3rd. There it is on your screen, and we've had Burko move into the lead, so that looks like it's happened at turn 1. We'll go back even further. Bear with us here. So here we go. Not the most ideal run out of the final corner for Liam Spencer, and then the big toe down the pit straight. Is a drag strip on the left hand side, that's how long it is. And then up the inside at turn 1, and that is Burko into the lead. Liam doing all he can to try and hold on around the outside, but you're never really going to hold on. It's just too tight a corner. 1 lap later, Burko into the lead. also got yellow flags down here at turn 1, so that's Cox off. Just have a look at the replay and see what has happened. Line Mitch right behind him. NZ Snipes just in front of him. Oh, so he's just laid on the brakes and tried to avoid running into the back of NZ Snipes. So in a way, it's smart driving to avoid the contact, but it's cost him a lot of positions. Thankfully didn't wipe anyone out. Also smart just to get out of the way, go to the inside and avoid T-boning or running to the back of NZ Snipes. So not the worst case scenario, but he certainly won't be too pleased with his mistake. Also had NZ Snipes drop down as well, so he's had a spin. Looks like he's just done it on his own. He grabbed a little bit of the curb at the hairpin, put the throttle down, and around he's gone. So big shame for him. He was running up there. That said, he'll be hoping that Stancliffe can hop them up, because Block Knight has got by. I do apologise, missed that pass for position once again. It's lap 8 of 14 here. There's so Line Mitch looking to make a move. Late on the brakes. Paul Morris looking to hold on around the outside, and he's done it as well. A little bit of contact there. And Stancliffe looking to try and get his third position back. So it's all action here in the first 8 laps in this little battle pack from 3rd all the way down to 9th. So we've got Hans Brunswick now in the top 10, so great effort from him. Now, will we see Line Mitch try and make a move at the penultimate corner again? He will try it. But Paul Morris aware of it. And is able to hold on for now. Turbo not too far away. And even after that mistake, NZ Snipes just a few seconds back. But these guys in the mid to high 6s. Which probably wanting to be running in the low 6s. Just having a look at our race leaders on that last lap. 106.5 for Burko, 106.3 for Liam Spencer, Block Knight 106.5. And then a bit of a drop off from there. So see once again another move from Line Mitch up the inside of Paul Morris. Is going to try and get the old switch back at the hairpin. Late on the brakes, little bit of contact. I don't think Paul will be too happy with that one. I mean, just biffed out of the way. But now he'll have a bit of a helping a slipstream. And wanting to get that position back, that is for sure. There's a little bit of contact there. He's forced Line Mitch wide and on the grass, but he's let him keep the position. And again, looks like a bit of contact and half spin for Paul Morris there, but just right on board. Just to see what went down there. So getting right up close and personal here at turn 10. A little bit of contact. And then, well, that was a little bit naughty from Line Mitch. They didn't quite leave too much space for Paul. It did sort of turn in. We've got Paul Morris around again, actually, as well. So we'll just cut and see what happened here. Yeah, just gassed it up out of turn 1. Around he goes. And he finds himself now down in 10th place. Matt Cecil in 9th, and Hans Brunswick up 3 spots in P8. So great effort from him on debut. We've got NZ Snipes in back up to 7th. And Turmo in 6th. Line Mitch in 5th. Followed by Stancliffe in 4th place. Not normally an easy man to pass. After being passed by Block Knight though, he's done a good effort just to stabilise a little bit. That said though, it's got a fair amount of work to keep Line Mitch behind. He's got a good run. He's going to probably make a move here into turn 1. And that's a bit naughty actually from Stancliffe. Drivers were warned not to use that much of the, or go that far over the white line at turn 1, but he has been overtaken. So that's Line Mitch now up into P4, albeit with a couple of scratches on his car. So he's now going to set his sights on Block Knight in 3rd. Liam Spencer keeping Burko honest on lap 10. Well, we've completed 10 laps on lap 11 now. And Liam Spencer right there in behind these guys. About 4.6 in front of Block Knight. So he's been a little bit quicker over the last couple of laps. albeit on the last lap actually lost out a couple tenths, because that gap was about 5 seconds between second and third. And as you can see on your screen there, 4.5 seconds between between Burko and Block Knight. And big lock up there for Block Knight. It's going to encourage Line Mitch even more. Want to get on to the podium. At the front, Burko all kinds of sideways, but just far enough ahead to hold on to his position. So it's going to be down to the wire for first and second, down to the wire for third and fourth. Just seeing if there's a flash of lights there to see if something happened. Or if it was just the game. No, it's just me. But once again, Line Mitch trying to get that little switch back on the final corner. Not able to get that job done this time. Block Knight aware to it. Goes defensive early to break the toe, which we haven't seen too much of that lately. We've got Liam Spencer up the inside of Burko into turn one. Burko late on the brakes, and Burko able to, for now, hold on. And further back though, Block Knight also holding on. But at the front, Burko able to hold on around the outside. They're very, very late on the brakes. So good driving from him as we start the penultimate lap. As Spencer now having a look up the inside. We've seen a number of drivers have a look up there, but if you can hold on around the outside, you've got the inside for the hairpin. Burko hasn't covered it off, but Spencer not quite close enough to send it up the inside. Further back, Block Knight defensive. Line Mitch going to try and go with the switch back, but again, not quite close enough. Block Knight aware to it, gives him nowhere to go. Also got a battle between Paul Morris and Noah Turra, I can see in the lifetime. We have got Brunswick down to 11th now, so perhaps a mistake from the commentator-in-chief back there. As we see Line Mitch up the inside of the final corner. He's outbroke himself though, and Block Knight will say thank you very much, I'll take that. So we're starting our final lap, and immediately Block Knight to the inside to try and break the toe. 107.1, not ideal for him, but he's in third place, and that's all he wants right now. There's a little bit interesting line into turn one. Line Mitch trying to get him on the switchback, slides it a little bit on the exit, and Stancliffe in the background, all kinds of sideways. His rear tyres are probably a little bit wrecked, knowing the way he drives. Liam Spencer also sideways. Look further back. As we can see, first and second, third and fourth. Line Mitch using all the road and a little bit more. It's right up behind Block Knight, the final spot on the podium. And, well, all Burko has to do now, navigate the final two turns. We have seen moves up the inside here. Spencer not quite close enough, but Burko will hold on. He will break the toe. But Burko will take the win, Spencer will take second, and Block Knight will hold on to third. Flash of the lights from Line Mitch. He doesn't look too pleased, but we'll have to have a look and see what's happened. Well, it didn't seem like too much in that. In fact, right on board. And, let's see what happened here. Well, he might be a little bit unhappy with that, but that's pretty much the exact same thing that he did to Paul Morris earlier in the race, so you can just deal with that one. So on debut, Block Knight will take third place with Burko taking the win. Liam Spencer, great effort, put Burko, our championship leader, under pressure, but wasn't able to get that lead back after leading for a few laps there. Line Mitch, good recovery to fourth place in the end. Stancliffe wasn't able to convert his third place starting spot into a podium. It's still a solid P5 in the end, and a good night, or good start to the night for 888 Race Engineering. Turmo in P6, up 2 spots. Enzo Snipes, bit up and down for him, but he finishes where he started in 7th. Paul Morris down a couple spots in 8th. Matt Cecil in 9th. Noah Turra in 10th. Hans Brunswick, he'll finish in 10th place. So a good effort from him on debut. Was running in 8th place, but Don't know why, but he dropped down a couple spots there in the end, so perhaps a late mistake from him. Daniel Cox down 7 spots. You did see that mistake to avoid NZ Snipes into turn 1. Smart driving and avoided a bigger contact, but he finishes down in 12th. Nether up 1 spot into 13th. Rhodey in 14th. Cheese in 15th. Mike Coulston 16th. Wayne Spencer 17th. Taipan on debut in 18th. Aiden 19th. McLean in 20th. Glenn Miles 21st. Wayne Whitmore in 22nd. And Darren Kemp DNF. Alrighty, well, that is race 1 from Hidden Valley, race 1 of 3. So there's 2 races to go. Don't go anywhere, but we'll take a short break. But we'll be back shortly for the first of the 2 reverse grid races, and for what is sure to be some cracking racing. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, well, just in the warm-up session, just waiting for, I believe we have Nether just waiting. He's just checking some stuff I see from the last race, but once he's back in, can set the reverse grid race. Batch file is ready for the reverse grid race. And, well, it's fairly entertaining. Now, just a word of just something to look out for in this one. See, Lime Mitch had a qualifying ban for race 1 tonight, but he's also got a pit lane start here for race 2 because of an incident that he had at Townsville. Just go and find it here. yeah, he snookered. Yeah, he snookered Billy Dougal Salonga into Scott Stancliffe, who then turned Wayne Spencer. And due to him being already having a penalty dished out to him in the previous race, that's why he finds himself with a pit lane start for this one. So normally good, as we saw at starting from the back. This time it's going to be made infinitely more difficult starting from a sector behind. So he's going to have to put in a fair shift if he wants to claw back points on teammate Steve Burko, who, as I'm being told, has extended his championship gap out to 144 points. But yeah, still 4 minutes to go. Yeah, still 4 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. And we're just waiting. So any questions, or if you want to just talk smack in the chat, feel free to ask away. Jason Statham behind the wheel for Line Mitch. Yeah, you should be able to tell by the gloves that he's wearing. Not so much. You won't be able to see behind the visor, but if he's wearing those crappy leather gloves, you'll definitely know that it's him. And Brute Burko to bin it. Well, mate, at least he's not having a bitch on team radio like you were last night. So there's at least that going for him. Alright, well, while we wait, might as well just find a driver that's out there on the circuit doing some laps. Alright, so I got Mike Coulson out there. Started the season in the 23 red car. Wasn't able to make every round, so decided to sort of give up his car, but was still able to race the last couple of rounds. But due to Daniel Cox coming in, he selected that car, and then Mike Coulson also in that car, but had Mike changed to the Fabian Coulthard number 17 DGR Team Penske Xbox car, just so we know who is who. And there we go. Speaking of Daniel Cox, saying hi to Mum, Dad and Jimmy. The number 230 23 red car. And indeed, Brute, just like your last name, Savage. But so we've got McLean out there looking to practice a start. Still got 2 minutes to go, as you can see the top left-hand corner of the screen. But got Mike Coulson out there, just right on board. Right on board a lap and a half or so. And Hidden Valley here with Mike Coulson. Oh, it's a little bit wide there, not ideal. And one of our resident supercar drivers, Kurt Stenberg, obviously one of the admins there at Automobilista Supercar Championship as well. He was actually the creator of this Hidden Valley circuit, so he put this together. And, fair effort has to be said putting a track together. I know I've got a couple of mates at the moment, including Mr. Sook on Team Radio, Mr. Brute there. He's also trying to put some circuits together, as is Steve Burko. As of late, they're playing around with Bob's Track Builder. If they can build anything this kind of quality, could see something like this raced in the future. Perhaps the Newcastle street circuit, if it's good enough. So as you can see, really difficult corner, this hairpin. It can sort of take a couple of lines. You can also try and sort of use the inside of the curb on the inside to pull the car around, but it can unsettle the car, especially when you apply the accelerator on the exit. Again, these final couple of corners here, it's a number of lines you can take. It's all about experimentation and confidence in there as well. Last corner, did see Line Mitch try and make a couple moves in there. A couple successful, a couple weren't. As see on the GRM cars looking to get away in a practice start with Coulson setting a 108.0. Alright, I'm just having a look. Have we got everyone back in the server? Yes, we have. And the warm-up just about to end. And 23 drivers into the server. And now we just wait for the server to tick over. A number of drivers still out there trying to fine-tune setups and cars. And here we are. Those sirens you can hear in the background indicating that the race session has begun. And now we wait. And unfortunately, Matt Cecil out of position again because his car keeps leaving and rejoining the server. So just go back to the warm-up session and we'll get this all sorted. There we go, Matt Cecil now sorted into the correct position into 13th as opposed to 22nd. And we're good to go now. As you can see, cars now forming up onto the grid. We're moments away from the formation lap here. Race 2 of 3 here at Hidden Valley Raceway in the Northern Territory. And as Zach said just above in the comments, if you just scroll up there, see you in the NT. What a promotion campaign, it has to be said. Plenty of those around, that's for sure. The Car 88 as well in the loose sim sport car, certainly one of those, that is for sure. Anyway, formation lap underway, and it will be Wayne Whitmore for Erebus Motorsport starting race 2 from pole position, with Glenn Miles joining him on the front row. Familiar position for him in these reverse grid races. McLean, he did serve, I do believe he had to serve a penalty, qualifying penalty, and that's why he started towards the back of the field for race 1. Didn't make his way too much further, and that's why he's starting there in 3rd place for this one. Aiden will start 4th. He's in the 2nd, the Jack Daniels Racing Cars. Taipan will start 5th on debut, or in his 2nd race out. Wayne Spencer will start 6th. He started the pit lane, and that is a roadie, sending Mike Coulston around on the formation lap. So what has happened here? Not paying attention and running into the back. Mike Coulson, thankfully only 25% damage here in Super 2, but he'll find himself with a penalty at some stage because of that. Heather Ermion will start in 10th place for this one. He'll be hoping to get a good start away and find a little bit of pace in this one, and hopefully set up a good result. Daniel Cox, he'll be one to look out for in this one. Did have some good pace, but that mistake at turn 1 where he had to avoid NZ Snipes there certainly ruined his race. So he's a little bit out of position in this one. Well, not out of position, but he'll be in a good position for this one, starting from 11th place. Hans Brunswick starts pretty much where he started race 1. I believe he started in 11th, this time in 12th. He'll be hoping to break into the top 10, where he was running for a little bit there in race 1. Matt Cecil, he'll be hoping for a better turn of events in race 2 here. Paul Morris starting at 14th. NZ Snipes will be starting 15th, followed by Termo in 16th. Stancliffe in 17th. Cecil in 18th. Lime Mitch, as you can see, starting from the pit lane. Don't want to cross that line, you'll get DQ'd. And I've actually got Wayne Whitmore has gone back to the pits by the look of it, so perhaps he's not put enough fuel in his car, and he's had to press escape and go back. So you've got Block Knight there starting in 20th, Liam Spencer in 21st, Burko 22nd, Darren Kemp the only DNF from race 1. And there you go, Wayne Whitmore was meant to start from pole position, but has gone to the pits midway through the formation lap, so he'll be starting from the pit lane. Anyway, the lights are on. Away we go. It looks like McLean's got a cracker of a start, as has Wayne Spencer. Nether looks like he's had a decent start as well, but now we're 4 wide in the middle, and it's the run to turn 1. As you can see, Nether up the inside, up into 3rd place. They're 4-5 wide in the middle there. It's forced Cecil onto the curb. Thankfully, we haven't seen a major incident, but how, I'll never know. A great start from Spencer, a great start from Nether. Very aggressive at the start, up 7 spots. Spencer up 4, McLean up a couple, but one of them started from the pit lane. And we've got yellows out. And who is that? That's Miles Around. That is Miles Around. And what has happened to him? He's just got on the grass, lost it on the... And he's gone around and he's punted one of the Red Bull cars there. I believe that had to have been Stancliffe. Pardon me. So I'll just scroll up and see. Yeah, it's Stancliffe by the look of it. So I'll just have a look here. And he's cut the track massively there. So he's gone around, lost it. And he's cut the track. Yeah, he has cut the track massively there. Looking on that replay. But at the end of the first lap, Wayne Spencer has stormed into the lead ahead of McLean. And we've got Nether in 3rd. And then we've got newcomer Taipan. He's run wide. He was in 4th. Now in 5th. Probably going to be 6th with the momentum. With Coulston right behind him. Got Stancliffe there as well. But the way he rejoined the track, he might see him drop more spots. But NZ Snipes up 7 spots. Block Knight. Fantastic start for him, up 11 spots into 9th. Turbo up 6, Aiden down 7, and we've got BDS now battling with Cecil, and I've got Rody, a little bit of a punching bag at the moment, as you can see. Very, very hot stuff here at the back. Well, I would say the back, more so in the midfield. And Daniel Cox had a poor start, down 4 spots, and that's Mike Coulston off in the boonies, in the wall. What has happened to him? So he was battling with, I think that's Taipan down there, so he's run wide, and he's sort of been driven around, and then that's just lag sort of forcing things around. So I'll have to probably see a replay from his point of view, or his own replay, to sort of figure out what happened there. As we see Burko looking to make a move up into 13th. He can just be patient because his championship rival, Liam Mitch, down there in 19th, and he's a good 17 seconds away. He's got Rody around in the background. Well, it's all happening at the moment. We'll just have a look and see what happened. Is it a bit of contact? I think it was. And that was Liam Spencer has sent Rody around. So that is not the kind of driving we like to see. But we'll just have another look at that on the replay there. So we're right on board, Liam. Just trying to send it up the inside with his already car, and then yeah, he's just pitched him around. So that is the kind of driving you don't want to see. And then he's coming really hot, running to the back of Daniel Cox here at the back. He's fast, as we know, winner of race 1, but just too impatient there and spinning Rody around. As it sounds like we've got a car in the pits there. Car going slow. That's an Xbox car, and we've also got Stancliffe looking to make a move there on Cheese. Perhaps a little bit of contact there, sending Cheese a little bit wide, but Stancliffe now up into P4. But Block Knight up into P6. He's had a fantastic start to this one. As we see, Liam Mitch well down the field in 18th due to that pit lane start, but setting the fast lap 106.1. But Wayne Spencer at the moment 2.4 seconds clear of McLean, who in turn 1.5 seconds clear of Nether. Exactly the kind of race Nether wants. A little bit of space behind him to Stancliffe. 10 laps remaining. But he'll be hoping to close down McLean and get by, and then just try and buy buy time for later in the race, with Stancliffe and Block Knight starting to close him down. Also got Snipes doing a good job working his way through the field. Turmo not far away, as is Paul Morris. Burko again, he's been a bit more cautious in this one, but he doesn't have to take too many risks playing the championship game in this one. That said though, Cheese not looking to give up position easy. The two Nissans side by side out of turn one. Now we go through the flip-flop. Cheese will have the inside for the main corner up ahead. But he just needs the racing line. He did get ahead, but he outbrakes himself, and that's going to allow at least one car to get ahead of him, albeit momentarily. As we look at Paul Morris looking to make a move on Turmo around the inside, the hairpin, but Turmo holds on around the outside, and that Snipes around the outside at the hairpin as well. Gives him the inside for the next corner, and some nice driving from both Turmo and Snipes there to stick it around the outside. Further ahead, Block Knight has closed in quite quickly on the back of Stancliffe. They haven't made too much inroads on this lap here to Nether and McLean. Looks like Nether though just edging about half a second or so closer in the last couple of laps towards McLean, as we see Block Knight just having a look at the back of Stancliffe there for P4. As we see Morris now up the inside at turn one, and now he sets his sights on the Nissan Hornet of Cheese there in P7. And oh, there we go. Still raging up ahead here. This is exactly what Nether will want. He'll want these guys to be battling. Nether now right behind McLean up ahead. Block Knight having a look. Stancliffe shutting the door. But Block Knight not going away here. In fact, NZ Snipes closing in as well, as we got Paul Morris looking to make a move on Cheese. He gets the job done. Turmo looking to make a move. Burko right there. And we've also got Liam Spencer there as well. He's looking to make a move on the inside. And they're going to go three wide down the straight here. But if Burko's smart, yep, he'll stay in the slipstream. He'll pull ahead, and then he can go into the middle or the inside there. So smart driving from Burko, sticking with the slipstream, able to hold on, doesn't run into the back of the Nissan in front. Does a really nice job there. Does Burko up a couple spots. And behind him, Liam getting by Turmo. So some good racing from our championship leader. And he's now looking to set his sights on Cheese. Late on the brakes, able to just pull it up. Those moments from disaster there, but that's compromised him, and Liam's going to try and go around the outside. We have seen it done before, and he's going to do it this time. He will have the inside for the next corner. So nice move from Liam Spencer, but there is a penalty hanging over the top of his head for the contact with Rhodey earlier on in this race. And further ahead though, Block Knight has got by Stancliffe. Just cut to a replay actually, see how that's happened. No, we have missed it. But Nether has actually fallen off the back a little bit of McLean. 108.1 on that one. That is not what you want. So he's made a mistake somewhere, perhaps attempted a move and it hasn't come off. But just no pace in this one for Nether. That said, still in third place at the moment. But with these fast guys now having made their way through the field, probably see him start to fall away. That said, Wayne at the front started the first race from the pits. He's 7 seconds out in front with 6 laps to go. He will not be caught if he doesn't make a mistake. But here is going to be the next big battle, with McLean being at the head of the pack. And then we got Nether, Block Knight, Stancliffe, Snipes, Paul Morris closing in, Spencer closing in, Burko closing, as is Cheese and Turmo. Then we have Daniel Cox as well down there in 12th. Cecil 13th, Taipan 14th, Lime Mitch recovering to 15th. And just looking at the timing, 24 seconds off the lead. He's faster than the leader, has set some fastest laps out there. And he's 10 seconds away from his teammate. So up ahead, there we go. This Block Knight looking to make a move on Nether at turn 1. They're going to go side by side through the flip-flop. Nether will have the inside. He holds on for now, but he'll have to watch his mirrors for at the hairpin. Now, which way do you choose? Because we have seen people go around the outside. Now that just parks his car in the middle. Makes it difficult for Block Knight. Block Knight now looking to get the good exit and set up a move for later in the lap. Probably the last corner. Last two corners will probably try and set up a move. That said, he's got a really good run there. And up the inside he goes. I think that's turn number 8. That said, Nether straight around the outside. Able to carry that momentum and speed. And also able to block off of a move at the final corner as well. So it's good defensive driving. He will have a little bit of slipstream from McLean in front. But Block Knight will have a much better run, that is for sure. And he should get the job done here into turn 1. And indeed he does. Nether will want to tuck in, so he isn't vulnerable to the car in front. He just gets the job done. Stancliffe having to just get out of it in the end there. Did see a little flash of the brake lights. But Nether Roman just having to get that little block in. And immediately Block Knight right onto the back, looking to make a move around the outside of the Styx Mobile, and he's going to do it. He's going to do it. It's 2 in 3 laps around the outside at the hairpin for Block Knight. That's of course if my memory serves me right, which isn't always reliable. So up into second place, up 18 spots. It would have been interesting to see if he had started the championship, because with the pace he has shown, he certainly would be a championship contender. Up into second place, but he's 8 seconds away from Wen Spencer, who's done what he had to do. Fantastic start from him, aggressive at the start, into the lead, and is driven away from McLean. And he just needs to stick in the high 6s, low 7s, and I doubt Block Knight will catch him in time. The big battle though, the final spot on the podium. Nether really needs to focus these next couple laps, put it all together. Looks like McLean's starting to struggle here, because he was a little bit ahead of Netherelmian, but it's right up close and personal. As you see, a late move there from Snipes. Looked like Stanker also sort of moved in on him a little bit of contact between Paul Morris there and either Snipes or Liam there as well. Well, Burko not too far away either. But Nether really has to get the job done here, because he is going to be vulnerable in behind, as we see a mistake from McLean, but he's able just to block off Nether just a little bit. He's going to try, and he will get him on the little switchback there, and it's going to be a run to turn 1. Now, will we see some F3 swerving down the straights to break the toe? Maybe a little bit, but Nether now up into third, and they're 2 wide, maybe even 3 wide at the back here, and prepare to cringe. Late on the brakes, a number of them. Little bit of contact. Stanker sort of a little bit of a bump and run ahead of McLean, but all able to live to fight another day, thankfully. I thought that was going to end in tears, but now it's McLean and Snipes side by side through the flip-flop. McLean with the inside, a little bit of moving and a braking there from Snipes, and Liam looking to get involved as well. He's got ahead of, he's just cut in front of BDS there and caused that contact. He had a car on his inside, didn't pay too much attention to it. I don't think Paul Morris will be too pleased with that one. And now Morris now trying to get McLean on the switchback, gets the job done. There's Burko right there. He was a few seconds behind this group. Now he is right there. He's on the grass, almost lost it as well, but able to hold on. And now at the head of the queue, we got Nether with Stancliffe right in behind with a couple laps to go now. Start of the penultimate lap. And Nether has got a fair bit of work to do to hold onto this podium. He'll be hoping that Snipes and Stancliffe here battle it out and cost each other time. And they're going to try and make the move into turn 1. Stancliffe late on the brakes. He's left Nether with nowhere to go. Outbroke himself. Nether straight back up the inside. We've got Paul Morris around in the background. Have to see what happened there. And he's gone straight back to the pit. So he's out. He's obviously not happy with that one. So what has happened here? Was it just a mistake on his behalf? Yeah, just outbroke himself. And around he went. Probably didn't. He probably would have yeah, he would have ran wide there, just outbroke himself. So unfortunate for Paul Morris that he's out, but that's his day done and dusted. Now got Wayne Spencer, 6.7 ahead of Block Knight, about to start the final lap. Block Knight out in second comfortably, but a man who's not comfortable at the moment is Nether or NZ Snipes at the moment, duking it out for the final spot on the podium, and they've got some fast cars and aggressive drivers right behind them as well, with the two Techno Autosports car there in the back, and also got Lime Mitch not too far away as well. But the start of these guys' final lap now, as we see Liam having a look up the inside of his teammate, but not quite close enough to get the job done. His teammates ran wide though, he's going to stick it up the inside. He did the same thing with Rhodey and spun him around earlier on in the race, but he's had an okay exit, not going to be close enough to make a move. He's had a good run through the flip-flop. Again, not quite close enough. A couple of little mistakes though ahead from Nether has allowed Snipes just to close in a little bit. And now he's got to fight for survival. As long as he gets a decent exit out of the double right-hander, he just has to worry about the final corner. Up ahead though, Wayne Spencer out of the final corner, won the race with his fantastic start, built the lead ahead of the faster drivers, and that is a textbook reverse grid race win. So well done Wayne Spencer, good fight back. Block Knight, so far driver of the night, fantastic drive in this one. Nether will hold on for a podium. A great result for NZ Snipes, holding on to 4th place there. And then we have Stancliffe in 5th, Liam Spencer in 6th, with Steve Burko coming home in 7th, Turbo in 8th. Good effort from McLean in the end there in 9th. Fantastic effort for a top 10 from Lime Mitch starting from the pits. Daniel Cox in 11th, Cheese in 12th. Matt Cecil clearly not too happy with his effort there in race number 2, finishes in 13th. Taipan in 14th, Rhodey in 15th, Aiden 16th, Hans Brunswick wasn't able to replicate his race 1 heroics, but still 17th place and some points for Super Monster Racing there in 17th. Darren Kemp will cross the line, or already has crossed the line I should say, a lap down in 18th. Glenn Miles in 19th, with Whitmore in 20th, with Paul Morris, Mike Coulston and Matt Cecil all, well, a secondary Matt Cecil, which must have been just the AI playing up there, or AMS playing up there, a DNF. Anyway, some fantastic racing here so far in the first 2 races. A little bit, some interesting incidents that will probably have to be looked at there in race 2, but again, some really good racing there in this one. Anyway, we'll take a break, but still one more race to go here from Hidden Valley Raceway in the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship. So don't go anywhere. Right, well, we're back here. 3 minutes to go in the one. 21 drivers currently in the server. Not sure if Paul Morris slash Billy Dougal Salonga is coming back at this stage. I think there may be one more other driver as well that has left the server. Yeah, Mike Coulston has left the server. I'm not sure if Mike is coming back. So those that know if he's coming back in chat could please message me. That'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, at the moment, just waiting for him to come back. Set the reverse grid, and away we go. And there we go, BDS on Rocket League. So obviously not too happy with some of the stuff that happened in race 2 there. Do have an incident from him regarding the incident he had with Liam Spencer where he DNF'd. Which we'll have to have a look at, but again, that's sort of on his court as well. I guess there's a 50-50 between those two guys in that one, but again, I'll have a look at that afterwards. So anyway, 2 minutes to go here. Some fantastic racing up and down the field, and Block Knight has been spectacular in his first night here this evening. Wayne Spencer coming back, the fighting win there in race number 2. But those guys have their work cut out from starting from the back in this one. It has to be said, Liam Mitch probably going to be the man to watch in this race 3 here. In the reverse grid race, and he's going to be starting from the middle. So not from the back, from the middle. After starting race 2 from the pit lane. So I expect to see him up there pretty quickly. That said, if Block Knight can get away quickly and Liam Mitch isn't quite able to get one of his rocket starts, you never know. Might have a fantastic battle between those two. Also, having a look in chat, did see that the points has jumped out again in Steve Burko's favour. Obviously, finishing ahead was 144 after race 1. After race 2, it's now 162 points between Liam Mitch and Burko. So, good result for Burko in that one, but still one more to go here. And we're 45 seconds away till the session ticks over. In fact, we are missing someone here in this reverse grid race. There's 21 drivers in the server and only 20 people picked up. Alright, so time has expired. 21 drivers in the server. Only 20 people in the reverse grid race. I'm trying to think who was the driver that isn't included in that one. So again, I do apologise for that. Grid may be out. But anyway, we're over into the race session. It was Noah Turra. That would be it. So Noah Turra will be starting from the back in this one, due to him not being picked up. But hold up, having some issues. Alright, hopefully that should all be sorted. Looks like Noah Tara was a DNF in the a disconnect in race 2, but so that means he'll be starting from the back in this one. He's on the grid. A lot of the drivers on the grid, 45 seconds away in the race session. And we'll probably see Whitmore once again start from the pit lane. He deliberately opted to start from the pits, didn't want to start from the front row last time out. Once again though, he has joined the field on the grid, but whether he starts from the front is another matter. Anyway, we're just waiting now. Seen some great racing. What does race 3 have in store? Hopefully no big incidents in turn 1, because we've been blessed so far with pretty much races 1 and 2 so far been very, very clean, with no major incidents at turn 1, which is a bit of a surprise considering the long run, heavy braking zone, and then sort of double apex nature of turn 1 here at Hidden Valley. Anyway, formation lap is underway, and as you can see, Wayne Whitmore leading the field around once again, but whether he starts there or not, who knows, as he did elect to start from the pits last time out. Good Miles once again joining him on the front row. Darren Kemp will start from 3rd. Hans Brunswick starting in 4th place. Showed some decent pacing consistency in race 1. Race 2 didn't quite go to plan, but he'll be hoping just to get away cleanly and maybe even lead a lap or 2 if all things go well. He's got Aiden alongside him in 5th. Rody will start in 6th place, followed by Taipan Matt Cecil. Another one hoping for a better final race. He hasn't been his weekend so far, but he'll be hoping to put that behind him with a good final race here. Cheese in 9th. He's running up there early on in race 2, but fell away as the fast guys come through the field. Daniel Cox hasn't had the best night so far of his season. Been here a couple rounds so far. He's shown some pace, was pretty good in qualifying, but that mistake in race 1 has sort of summed up his night so far, and he finds himself starting in 10th in this one. He'll be hoping to get away cleanly and hopefully make up a few spots at the start. That said though, that's difficult with Lime Mitch directly behind him. Expect him to be up the front in no time. Got McLean behind him. He did a really good effort and good job there in race 2 there. Got Termo starting in 13th, Burko starting in 14th. He didn't get as high as what he would have hoped, but his teammate only a couple of spots away. Got Liam Spencer right behind him in 15th. Stancliffe will start 16th. NZ Snipes 17th. Netherrealmian in 18th. Block Knight, the driver of the round so far, it has to be said, in 19th. Wayne Spencer in 20th. And Noah Tara in the Pepsi Max Racing FGX Falcon starting in 21st. With, as you can see, Wayne once again electing to start from the pit lane, which in AMS and R Factor 1, and I believe R Factor 2, you can't leave the pits until the leader crosses the first sector line, so about 20 seconds. Away we go, and Miles got he got away quick enough, but some 11s from him on the road as we go 4 wide towards the back. Darren Kemp into the lead. Got one of the Jack Daniels cars there into 2nd place, and a bit of a bottleneck. Got Cox right up the inside and all over the curb there. I'll have to have another look at that at some stage. Lucky maybe even cut the track to make up a couple of spots there, but up 4 spots, up into 7th. Good start from him. Lime Mitch up into P7 as the field go through the flip-flop and approach turn number 4. Big incident. That is a GRM car, a Holden Racing Team car, and the Styx car. I think that is Burko, but I can't be sure. Is Burko, because Lime Mitch now making a move for 3rd. So I'll just scroll back and have a look and see what happened there as Whitmore gets away. What did indeed happen? So yeah, the car in front braking very, very early, because there was a Hans right in front of him braking early, because there was a car in front of him braking a little bit early. So it was Burko's fault. He slowed down a little bit, but I'm not sure. No, I think he's redressed that position, I think. But yeah, he has, because that is McLean there. That was the car that he wrecked. all the way down there. And unideally for him, Live Mitch already into the lead. So Aiden, oh, we've got a wreck here. It's the two Xbox cars, and once again, Brody involved. So he was a couple spots back here. What has happened here into turn 1? So I was hoping for no carnage. Unfortunately, that's all there has been so far, and that is 100% on Rody outbraking himself. There was no way he was making that corner, car or no car. And to the back he goes, and there's a bit of contact between Burko and Noah Tara there at the back as well. So a bit of dodging cars going on at the moment. So Burko having a bit of a nightmare race so far, finds himself still behind Noah Tara and also behind Darren Kemp and Glenn Miles, who have fallen well down the field. And Nether move up 6 spots. Block Knight hasn't had as good a start as the previous races, but still up 8 spots. And then we got Wayne Spencer. He's had a decent start, up 12 spots, right behind Termo and Taipan. And then we've got Hans Brunswick in 8th. NZ Snipes up 12 spots, so a good start from him. We've also got Cox up 5 in the slipstream of Stancliffe, who's up 13 spots. Cheese up 6 into 4th. Liam up 14 into 3rd, so a good start from him. And Aiden doing a good job, staying relatively towards the front, but also doing a good job here, holding on to 2nd place here at the moment. And Liam Mitch well out in front, and barring mistake, should probably win this one from here, with his next closest rivals a few seconds back at the pace that he showed in race 2 there when he was running a clear air. Clear indicator that he's going to be a difficult man to close down. And Cheese, ever the opportunist around the outside, as Aiden looking to just get on with his race. So smart from Cheese, up 7 spots now. And now we've got Aiden and Stancliffe duking it out here. And further back, that's Taipan, Spencer duking out Spencer up the inside at the final corner. They're going to duke it out down the straight, but Spencer should get that position. Indeed he does. And then right behind Taipan, well, not right behind, but a couple seconds behind, is his teammate in Block Knight, up 10 spots. Then we've got Burko and Nether together on the circuit. Burko not having the greatest run so far in this one. And well, Nether, he won't want to know the adventures that Burko's been on so far. He's been hit a number of times in this series, has Nether. And the way Burko's been going in this one, he might get hit again here. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but yeah, it hasn't been the cleanest race so far for Mr. Burko. And up ahead though, massive traffic jam as Snipes gets past his teammate Cox now up into P5, but he's having to contend with Snipes. He's had a good weekend so far, as we see Stancliffe off onto the grass there. I wonder what happened there. Just got to a replay. Is that him just overdriving it because he's out on his own? Yeah, just pushing too hard out on the grass. Oh, and Cox there a little bit dumped down the grass. So again, cut to a little bit of a replay. So perhaps Snipes trying something a little bit over ambitious. In fact, we'll have to go a couple of cars back here. That's not a couple of cars back. If we can avenge good old AMS. Where are we here? There we go. This is close enough. Can't really see it. Yeah, that was 100% on NZ Snipes there. Taking out Daniel Cox. And he's gone for a late manoeuvre again, and Burko thankfully saw him coming, almost speared into the back of Nether, and Nether probably would have just DNF'd on the spot. And he's threatened to walk away from the series. He's been run into so many times. And whisker away there. Got the two Gary Rogers Motorsport Fujitsu cars battling out. And Hans Brunswick up into P7, doing a good job so far. He's looking to get ahead of Aiden up into P6. He's having a look here. And looks like he might get the job done here. So Hans Brunswick, man on fire at the moment. Debut, commentator extraordinaire, up into P6. Does he pull it up? Oh, he's very wide on the exit, but he does pull it up in the end. And trying to make him work for it as the two GRM cars side by side behind as well. Cox recovering as well. Also also got, it's like Nether has been overtaken by Burko now. And Nether coming under attack. Snipes there, 13th. Back towards the front though. 4.5 seconds between first and second. Mitch walking away with this one. Spencer having a good round so far. Albeit probably a penalty or two to come from a race 2. And Cheese though, man of race 3, sitting here in 3rd place. I know 7.3. If you continue that kind of pace, 7 laps to go with a bit of luck. If Stancliffe and Spencer behind him start battling for a few laps and he doesn't make any mistakes, we could see Cheese maybe steal a podium. But he's going to have to drive the wheels off that Nissan. That said, good effort so far in the first 7 laps. Up 7 spots in 3rd place, but 2 very fast cars right behind him and closing him down. And little slides like that won't help his cause at all. But he's out there having a crack. Block right now up to P6 ahead of Taipei. Did see that. Looks like Brunswick has made a mistake or has been overtaken. So, oh, there we go. Off in the, well, literally off in the boonies. Is well, any further, he would have been stuck in the, would have been off in the ocean. He's gone that far. That said though, 8th place, and he'll want to close back up on Taipan to get that position because he does look a little bit quicker. That said, he's got some faster cars with Snipes, Nether, and Aiden closing down. That's Burko also. He was ahead of that pack, so Burko's made a mistake somewhere. Just cut to a little bit of replay, see what's happened here. Because he was ahead of Nether and Friends. Now, what has Burko done here? Right, so riding on board, slow cars in front, and he's spun the 23 or half spun the 23 red car. They all had to check up. Fortunately, Burko nowhere really to go, and he decides to avoid a penalty by redressing the position. That said, he's back up now into 11th, but frustrating race 3. Still get a decent result here in the top 10, but it's going to have to put much better corners together than the hairpin there, a bit wide on the grass. And Nether, he'll be hoping to put things together to see the fastest race lap of the night. 105.8 would have been good enough for pole position, that one. People threaten to do it in practice as there's contact, and once again Snipes trying to move in the final corner and making contact, so probably see a penalty result, or 2 penalties result from this. So just right on board. Just attempted the move and it was not on. He was never making the inside of the corner, and that's cost Nether a position to Burko in the end there. Just overdriving at NZ Snipes, as we see that's Noah Toa around in the background. Looks like he's just gassed it up a little bit too much out of turn 1. And unfortunately for him, yeah, around he goes. Thankfully, very low damage, so it shouldn't affect him too much. Now still holding on to the top 10. Burko finally up into 9th and he's closing down Hans, Brunswick and Taipan. Probably not going to get too much further. Had Wayne Spencer and Stancliffe get ahead of Cheese the last spot on the podium, which is a bit of a shame. But still Cheese doing a good job there in P5. Got McLean out and seeing Matt Cecil in chat having the game crash on him once again. So fortunately this circuit playing all kinds of issues, giving all kinds of issues with over 20 cars it seems. And game crash there, so see Brunswick right on the back of Taipan for P7. Further ahead, got Stancliffe, Spencer and Cheese still fairly close together, so Cheese not giving up on that, and Spencer trying to get on the podium as well. As we see Brunswick just starting to hustle the back of Taipan's GRM EF Commodore. Going to get this move done as soon as there's that little mistake, but again Brunswick nowhere to go to capitalise on Taipan's mistake. He's just got to focus on getting a good exit out of the final corner, which he has done. He'll have to slipstream. He's already got a bit of momentum. Now all he's got to do is get to the inside, which he has done, and now all he's got to do is pull it up at turn 1. Very, very early on the brakes. Taipan late on the brakes. Really pull it up. His outside tyres are on the grass. And off he goes. Actually got yellows out, and that is Block Knight. So Block Knight's gone around. He's had a great night so far. And he was just closing up onto the back of Cheese. What has he done? You can see a little bit of lag there. So he's just... what's he done? Just gassed it up. Yeah, just gassed it up. That is exactly what Liam... Sorry, not Liam. What Noah Turra did. And around he goes. And he finds himself down in 9th place now, behind his teammate once again. Also, it sort of disrupted Nether as well. Give Noah a bit of, Nether a little bit of extra motivation to try and steal another spot. Have a bit of a slipstream too, if he can just hold on here for the final couple corners. He does hold on. Block Knight better exit out of the final corner. He's able just to stretch away here. And Nether, in fact, has got Snipes for company. He's right behind him in his slipstream. Now that's staying in the slipstream of the car in front. Snipes going to send it up the inside. And Snipes able to get the job done this time. Can Nether fight back? Still 3 laps to go. And Burko has got ahead of Taipan and Brunswick. And Brunswick has got ahead of Taipan as well. So Brunswick running in P7. So good effort from him so far. He was running in 8th place in race 1. And now running 7th place, as high as 6th here in race 3. So good debut from him. From the fellow commentator out there. Cheese running in P5. Got Wayne Spencer still right behind Stancliffe there for the final spot on the podium. 106.8 for Stancliffe, 106.7 for Wayne Spencer. Got a bit of a slipstream, looking to just show his nose a bit, try and put off Stancliffe in front. But unable to really perturb or disturb Stancliffe in front. That said though, he has closed in quite a bit, so it looks to be better under braking at turn 1. He's always looking for a very optimistic move there into turn 4. Thankfully able to bail out of that one. Cheese still doing a good job. Burko a fair ways away. A little bit further back. Block Knight has got away from Nether. So Snipes has made a mistake somewhere. Just cut to a replay. It looks like he may have made it off here at turn 1. Yep, just out, broke himself, locked up a little bit, and there he goes. A little bit of lawn mowing. Replaced Jack Daniels with Jim's mowing, I think, on the side of that car. Now all he can now to hold off Turmo. The final spot in the top 10. Daniel Cox there also there to pounce. See, he's been punted a couple times in this one. Hasn't had the greatest round, but he has shown some good pace, just a little bit of bad luck tonight. So up at the front, Wayne Spencer has got by Stancliffe here, so I'll just cut to a replay, and that looks like it's happened a fair while ago as we just wind back. So here we go into the hairpin, turn 5, 6, and yep, lock up, wide grass, and Spencer says thank you very much, I'll take the final spot on the podium. And he'll make it a family affair on the podium if he can hold on. Lime Mitch crosses the line. Never really headed in this one, starting from, I think, 11th, 12th place there in this one. Liam Spencer, very good round for him there. 2nd place in race 3. I think he also got 2nd in race 1 as well. Wayne Spencer, a win, and then a 3rd place after starting race 1 from the pits. Great effort from him. And Stancliffe in 4th place. She's in 5th. Burko, as you can see, probably not too happy with this one, running into a number of cars out there, so he's probably a bit frustrated that it's not as clean as what he normally is. Still P6 in the end. Brunswick taking home P7. So great effort from him on debut here, running in the top 10 in race 1 and then finishing off with the 7th in the final race. So well done, Hans. Block Knight in P8. He'll be frustrated by that mistake towards the end there in race 3, but very, very quick in race 1, very, very quick in race 2. Taking home 2 podiums. Taipan in 9th, good effort from him in the 3rd race to pick up a top 10. Nether able to hold on to 10th in the end there with Turbo 11th. Snipes in 12th, bit of a scruffy one for him in race 3. Cox, unlucky tonight. I guess he gets the Turbo award for just being a magnet for other cars to run into him in this one. And then we have Aiden in 14th. Rhodey, the Destroyer, in 15th. Glenn Miles in 16th. Darren Kemp 17th. Whitmore in 18th. Noah Turra in 19th, with McLean and Cecil being the 2 non-finishers. And, well, after tonight's running, being told that after the race 3 result here, that the gap between first and second, between Steve Burko and my Mitch, hasn't actually changed, with Burko's 6th place in race 3 and my Mitch's win in the final one. Meaning that, yeah, there's no change in the points difference between the two after tonight's round. That said, though, they would have extended their gap over 3rd and 4th in the championship, I believe. Anyway, from myself, Lewis Wedding, and from all the admins here at Automobilista Australia, hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship. Now, an annual occurrence here from me is to forget the upcoming events here at Automobilista Australia.
That's where I think I come in, Lewis.
And that is obviously Steve DeGrees, Never. And thank you very much for jumping in, and hopefully going to remind everybody of what is coming up here at Automobilista Australia.
Sure do. So we have a look for what's on next week. So coming up on Monday, Track Day Challenge comes to the fore on the 25th, Calder Park Raceway. So if you're interested in that series, Brendan Ross is the admin you want to have a chat to. TCR Oz on Tuesday night, 26th of May, which is run by yourself. Of course, that's still going to be live streamed from a different point of view, as we still we believe that the Italian Stallion is still going to make his appearance and broadcast things from his point of view, I believe.
Yeah, he's signed on for the rest of the season, the old Aldo Benedetti, so he'll be hoping to continue his form from Phillip Island.
Yeah, he had a stonking run at Phillip Island, so that's the 26th of May, and Symmons Plains Raceway is the venue of choice for Tuesday. The next live stream is going to be on the Short Shift Motorsport podcast channel. That's going to be the TCAC all-wheel drive series and the street circuits of Ribeiro Preto, the 2012 layout. That's going to really be a hard one, I think, for a number of drivers to muster.
Rip.
The top rip, rip, I think, is probably the best word we can use to describe that. The top 2 series that are still to take their next live streams are the GT3 and the main game supercars. Now, the main game supercars next round is the Calder Park Twin Sprint on the 11th of June. So that's a pair of 2 90k sprint races. And then the next of the GT3 rounds is round 7 from the Shanghai International Circuit in China. And that's a 60-minute affair on the 2nd of June, it's Tuesday the 2nd of June. And both the supercars and the GT3s broadcast on the Outworld Broadcasting channel.
Certainly, and just to go over what is coming up as well for Super 2, the next round, June 5th, the Hamilton Street Circuit. So that'll be the first time that people get a look at that in Automobilista. And we will have to probably actually make a little update for that for the chicane on the back straight there. But that certainly will be a very, very interesting race. Will be the first proper street circuit since Adelaide, with parkland circuits being, well, Albert Park and Townsville being sort of parkland circuits. You could say Adelaide is like that, but the walls are a lot closer at that compared to the other two. So that'll be interesting. And also be good to hear the feedback as well from the drivers about the Hamilton circuit and how it looks and how it races. And then after that, round 10 of Super 2 on June 19th from Sydney Motorsport Park. Both those races being the 2-race format, with the circuits being over 3.1 kilometres long. And, well, from myself, Lewis Wedding, and again, thanks to Nether for going over what is coming up at Automobilista Australia, because I do forget every single time. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast, and you'll catch us you'll catch this channel on Sunday night with some AK Racing Supercars. You'll catch some more AMS with Aldo Benedetti on Tuesday. But until then, have a good one.